It is time to go back to racing in the NASCAR Windies Cup Series. Is the Go RVing 400 here at Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway in Rio. My name is Colin Denton. I am on the call today for RVN. If we take a look at the standings, Paul Brenner atop the leaderboard with a win over NASCAR Fan 148, who has yet to get one. Stephen Willie, Barry Goldberg, Dale Jr. Dude 88, and Reese Butcher all have one and are in contention for the chase. Now on the grid, number 29, Mobile One Chevy The Flash is on the pole, and he is eligible for the Wendy's Unlimited next February. And on the outside pole, John Green in the Target Chevrolet. In the second row, Dan Bandon and Conrad Cooper. In the third row, Lego Bush and Grayson Acevedo. In the fourth row, Eric Van Arsdale and NASCAR Fan 19. In the fifth row, K-Dude 124 and Noah Cars. In the sixth row, Pat Hayes and William Brock. In the seventh row, Dale Jr. Dude 88 and Harrison Butt. In the eighth row, Dexter Black and Colin Lindsay. In the ninth row, Zach Campbell and T-Love 48 Man. And in the 10th row, Marty Johnson and Josh Harris. As the rest of the field flashes across the bottom of the screen, you might see a couple of those leaders in the standings falling a little bit back behind in this race. We'll have to see how they perform today, if they can make their way up. This is a tough place to make some good racing and good passing. So this might be an opportunity for some people to make their way up, and of course make a way for some first-time winners as the green flag flies here at Rio. The Flash leading them down into turn number one. Well, the car's starting to scatter, and there is trouble already. Josh Harris gets some contact from Dexter Black, and oh my. Gabriel Wanderley makes some scraping, and looks like he has an engine problem, and NASCAR man number one smashes hard into the side. And that car looks totaled. Smoke bellowing out. Engine looks killed as it runs around. Gabriel Wanderley also has some smoke as he looks to scrape the back of Josh Harris as he came around in turn number one. The Flash takes the caution flag as they come across single file. Already in the turn number one, accidents occurring. Let's take another look at what just happened. As they come into turn number one, it looks like, you can see in the middle of your screen, it might have been some contact from Carson Scott that got Josh Harris down to the bottom line where Dexter Black already was. Josh Harris runs back up the racetrack, backs up. There's the scrape of Wanderley and the smash by NASCAR man number one, Andrew Golden, taking evasive action. Slams on the brakes and looks like if he got away with minor, if any, damage. A heads-up move by him. Josh Harris crawling by. Let's take a look at that from NASCAR man number one's screen. You can see there's the smoke up there, and he just tries to go straight through it, and that's just not going to work. He needed to whoa up right there and let the crash go by him. So we're going to have to take a commercial break as we clean up the mess. We'll be right back here from Rio.
Hey man, you cut me off back there. What you gonna do about it? Oh man. Can you feel it? The taste of Coca-Cola. Well, the race all right, fine. Are we good? We're good.
As a result of the action that occurred in front of the break, Josh Harris, Gabriel Wanderley, and NASCAR man number one, the big three involved in that incident, are out of the race. But that gives us the opportunity to give away the Hardy's Hot Seat going to Rampage this week. As you can see, he's put up some dominating performances at Lowell, Seattle, Delaware, Meadowlands. He has been running across the board, and he almost took a win at Meadowlands last week. Unfortunately, the two-tire call did not work in his favor. And at the moment, he's not running in a particularly favorable position. You can see the back of the field from there. Let's see how he does as he continues. The green flag coming out right here as we look from the grandstands in the front stretch. The Flash is going to lead them off. No pit stops made that lap. They go around turn number 1. Now the best way to describe the track type here would be a trapezoid, a very long front stretch surrounded by turns at either end and kinks in the back stretch. You can see as they go underneath that bridge right there. The turn 1 area is a little bit wider than this next turn right here. But then they careen into a very long front stretch, spanning down the width that could be very well used to land an airplane. And Kingston is headed to pit road. He comes down, make a stop in his stall. Let's see what happens right here, and it is a stop and go, which probably means there's a penalty being assessed on him. Let's take a look back on what happened on that restart. See right here, the green flag flies, and Alexander Miller, he needs to stay behind him or pass to his outside. He did not do that right there. He still got until the start-finish line to get back behind him, but let's see what happens when they get to the line. It was very close, but he did in fact go underneath Miller and advance his position before the start-finish line, so obviously he has to take that stop-and-go penalty, and he's going to be far behind these other drivers. The Flash continues to maintain the lead. Not a lot of passing, as you can see. As soon as they get to single file, they are pretty set in their positions. John Green just hanging on to a position right there, maintaining his interval. If he can look to make a move anywhere, it might be down into this turn right here, or it's really tight. You can get down and cut into somebody, but it's going to be tough for those guys to make that happen. 40-lap race here today as we hit lap number 9. The Flash has really been battling this season as he's had 4 very bad starts to the beginning of the season. However, last week he took a 9th place finish at Meadowlands, got 35 points out of that, and trying to make his way back into the contention. We run by beautiful landscape and beautiful outside. There's a lot of condos and apartments to the outside of turn number 3 and 4. Got a few scattering the track as well. It's a very beautiful landscape here in Rio. Cars continue to make their way around the track, trying to find a way to get around each other. You can tell from this angle, this really high angle, you can see the shape of the track really. You can see those kinks that we're talking about, and you can see this tight little turn right here, and the longer turn back out in turn number 1. And then this long front stretch, packed with fans ready to see some Wendy's Cup racing action. John Green, who's trailing the Flash right now, finished 13th last week, and he is running 11th place in the points. So let's take a look at our bubble drivers at the moment. NASCAR Fan 148 obviously running in 2nd position in the standings, but is only in 35th position at the moment. Had a poor qualifying run here at Rio, and he is struggling to try and make some passing. This is not the place you want to make those passing, but if you can have some solid pit stops later on in the race, you might be able to achieve some advantage. A little bit further down the leaderboard, Rampage in 4th place, 18 points behind, but 3 behind NASCAR Fan 1418. only running in the 30th position right now, so he has some battling to do as well if he wants to gain any ground on the bubble driver, who is currently NASCAR Fan 1.8. Of course, they'll have to make sure that there is a spot open, someone wins twice before the chase. Andrew Rich in 6th place in the standings is running 37th. Obviously, these big guys on the leaderboard are trying to find some position. But if we go down one more spot to Eric Van Arsdale, who's running in 7th place, he's actually in 8th place in the race right now. So he's going to pick up some big spots if these guys stay where they are. He would love to run where he is now. Of course, he'd love to get that win, but if he can make some ground up, he'll take it as well. 8th place in the points, John Arndt is in 19th place at the moment, so he's running in the middle of the field. But of course, he can make us some ground to those guys that are struggling in the back. Alexander Miller, you saw that Tyrone Kingston went around him and he got that spot back. He is currently running in the 26th position as 10th place in points. Lap number 14, the Flash still maintains his lead. You can see Cooper is actually making a move to the bottom, but he could not make it stick. And you know what? They are actually coming down for pit stops. John Green goes around them. So does Bandon, but the Flash and Cooper are coming in, and a large conglomerate of cars are following them. As you can see, a few are electing not to go this lap. They're going to go a little bit further down, probably another lap or so. But the Flash is headed in. Take a look at these couple of these front runners. You can see they're going for the tires in the field. They're probably going to take 4 tires, as this track is definitely wearing them out as they swing around these corners. We'll see how fast these guys can get it done, because that can affect where they go on the racetrack. The Flash comes out first. Cooper right behind him. Of course, he's trying to get back on the track really quick and make a move, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this lap. The Flash maintains that position while the rest of the field that did not pit that time comes around. Green, Bandon, Acevedo, NASCAR Fan 19, Pat Hayes, Lindsay, K-Dude 124, they're all coming down this time. John Green coming in. He's actually 11th place in the points, as we mentioned before. So he would love to get a good finish today and get back into the top 10, put himself in contention. He'll come out first in the pit stops. Bandon is out, and it looks like Acevedo tried to make a move but couldn't make it stick. But Green actually comes out in front of those guys that pitted last lap, including the Flash and Cooper, and they're trying to make their way around as they head into the backstretch. They're trying to make up position, but it looks like Green has taken it over. Now we're going to head to commercial. We'll be right back to settle out where everyone is. You're watching NASCAR Wendy's Cup Series action on RVN.
You'll love this. Watch. The mirrors make bigger, better.
Well, it's fast. It's sharp. It's big. But they got rules.
It's amazing.
It's the mirrors.
DLP HD TV. Millions of tiny mirrors make the biggest pictures better.
Welcome back to Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway for the Go RVing 400. John Green has, in fact, assumed the lead after that round of pit stops. He had a very fast run, and as you can see, the field single file behind him. Obviously not a lot of passing going on, but that is good news for John Green, who assumed the lead right there. Dan Bandon also got in front of the Flash, who had the lead when they made those round of pit stops, and he pitted on lap number 14, while Green came in on lap number 15. Now let's take a look at how those cars pitted. You can see Green, Bandon, Acevedo, NASCAR Fan 19, Pat Hayes, Colin Lindsay, K-Dude 124, Dale Jr. Dude 88, John Arndt, Tyler Markell, Reese Butcher, James McDaniel, Andrew Golden, Emmett Juckham, looks like Reese Butcher, and Johnny Gardner all elected to stay out, and the rest of the field came in, and it looks like any of those drivers that came around profited from that. Could be that that tight turn one gave them the opportunity to get around and make sure that everyone else was blocked off when they came through. John Green looking back at Bandon, making sure that he stays back there. Bandon is running 32nd in the points at the moment, which would make him eligible for the chase if he can win, but he's going to have to get around John Green on a pit stop. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
For every turn, a twist. For every start, an untimely finish. For every win, someone who loses it. For every number, a nation. For every celebration, a brawl. For every split second, years of work. For every heaven, a hell. For every good old boy, a good old girl. For every curse, a prayer. For every ounce of order, a jug of chaos. For every twist, there's a turn.
And we're back at Rio for the Go RVing 400 here at Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway, lap number 27. John Green still assuming the lead as they go underneath the backstretch bridge. Plenty of people looking for a win, trying to get themselves into the chase. Of course, it's not going to go easy with the lack of passing that happens here. And I see the Flashes once again making a move to the bottom of the track, and it's time for more pit stops. And it looks like a lot of cars are actually deciding to stay out another lap, which probably is going to work out in their favor. As you saw from the last pit stops and how the cars came off of pit road, it seemed like there was a good opportunity to get ahead, and only about 5 or 6 cars are in the back right there. Several guys that were running in the back. I saw Rampage. I think I saw NASCAR Fan 1418. Those two top bubble drivers are both trying to stay in this together. The Flash finishes up his work, and he comes out way in front of the field, but it looks like Bandon's going yet another lap. John Green is one of those guys that elected to come down, Conrad Cooper among them. So cars trying to stay out even further, stretching out their gas. They're obviously going to make it up all the way to the finish line this time. John Green making some more services to his race car. Looks like it's going to be a 4-tire stop. Zach Campbell, who we've seen running a little bit further behind the pack, has just completed his service. John Green is off, and it looks like he'll be ahead of the Flash as they come around. Bandon, Acevedo, NASCAR Fan 19, all making their stops right here. And they're starting to pass up some guys that are yet to complete their service. K-Dude 124, looks like he's actually just stuck on the pit road, and we'll see what goes on with that. Bandon coming in and making a 4-tire stop. filling it up with gas and getting himself to the end of the race. It looks like 15 laps is about how much these cars can go on this load. Everyone's off, including KD124, who looks to be a lap down now. And as they pull off of pit lane, he looks like he's going to take over the lead from John Green. And Acevedo might even get a spot from him, but let's see. They're still battling for that spot. They're trying to speed back up to pace. John Green still has a chance to make a move on that second place spot, but at the moment, it looks like Bandon might have just taken this one. As he heads through turn number 3, Zach Campbell lagging behind right there, but here he comes. Bandon getting ready to lead a lap and take over the lead from John Green, who dominated that segment after the pit stop. The Flash, who led a lot of the first part of the race, is now in 4th. As we go around turn number 1, you can see these cars really, if you see these cars, they kind of swing out from the back. They are really going fast around turn number 1 and 2. They're really trying to get themselves into position, but the passing is just not working out for them. You can see Goldberg's trying to make a move to the inside of Nick Smith and try to get a spot right there. And it looks like it didn't actually work, and he might actually lose a spot to McDaniel. But we'll see how he does heading into turn number 1. It looks like he might make it work. Let's take a look from the top of turn number 1. You can see these cars as they come around, they swing out. They really jerk it over to the side. They really jerk it to the left side and gets them around, but it makes passing really difficult at this track. You can see in turn number 3 and 4, they kind of do the similar thing. Heading into lap number 36, Dan Bandon holding the lead. He's got 5 more to go before he's got his first win of the season. As they come around turn number 1. You're looking at a pack of 7 cars that have a chance at this. If anything happens right here, it could be huge. Bandon has just got to make no mistakes. And he can hold off Acevedo and Green from grabbing those first wins. Acevedo, we haven't talked about him much this race, but he is currently running 21st in the points, 58 points back. If he can't get this win, a second place finish will be a good way for him to get up in the standings. Obviously, those top running bubble drivers not having some hot performances today, although it seems like the pit stops have helped them a little bit. They are currently running pretty much mid-pack. So while they might lose a couple points to some of these further back drivers, they still have a shot to keep themselves at the front. Bandon coming around turn number 4, down the long front stretch. 3 laps to go for Bandon. He's obviously sitting pretty close to the line where you got to be at. You got to be in front of the top 35 line to be eligible for the chase with a win. And at the moment, they're keeping it real close. But of course, a win will give you probably 47 or 48 points, depending on how many laps are led by each driver today. And unfortunately, Bandon's only led the back part of this race, which is going to be less than a fuel run, so he's probably going to sit at 47 if he does win. However, it's going to give him some major points, get him a little bit further ahead in the standings, and help him out a ton 2 laps to go as he crosses the finish line. The rest of the field lagging behind. Looks like a few of them might be held back by K-Dude 124, who's obviously been having some problems. You saw him on pit road. Wasn't running very fast. He's currently a lap down. He's holding up the rest of the field at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. Out of turn number 4, the flagman is getting ready to wave the white flag. There it is. Bandon looking to grab the first win of the season for him. The 6th race of the season will bring the 6th winner of the season, as all of these guys up front, all winless so far. Acevedo has one more opportunity. It's going to happen in turn number 3 and 4. If he can make a move, he can do something, but it doesn't look likely at this point with the passing that's been going on today. Coming out of the backstretch into turn 3 and 4. Across the scenery of Rio, Bandon comes out of turn number 4. Down the front stretch. They're not going to make any passing. Dan Bandon wins at Rio and grabs a victory to make him eligible for the chase for the Wendy's Cup. See all the drivers coming through as Bandon has won it and grabs a victory. A big confidence boost for that number 14 team. Well, let's take a look at the final results. Dan Bandon wins the race with Grayson Acevedo and John Green trailing. The pole sitter, the Flash, finishes in 4th. Plenty of other drivers trying to make their mark, trying to get some points, but Dan Bandon's definitely going to have the advantage here today. Up at the top of the standings, Rampage has actually beaten NASCAR Fan 1418 by 4 positions, and that is going to put him at 3rd place on the standings, 1 point in front of NASCAR Fan 1418. Dale Jr. Dude 88, one of the winners, is dropped back to 15th place. Grayson Acevedo, though, has moved up to 12th. He was running in 21st when this race started. Dan Bandon, who's won the race, is now in 22nd in front of Reese Butcher, but he will have to make sure to run consistent throughout the rest of this season to make sure he stays in front of 35th position. Well, that is going to do it for us here in Rio. Thank you all for joining us on RVN. My name is Colin Denton. We hope to see you next week for some more racing action here on the Wendy's Cup Series Trail. See you next time.